window. We have to move our bodies. We have to eat right most of the time. It doesn't matter if you're fit or thin or what you look like. You have to know how to take care of your body. One of the pieces to my story that I always thought was really important was when I was younger and I was competing. My background is figure competition for many years. And at the time, I looked like the epitome of fitness. Anybody looking at me would have said, well, she has the six pack and she has the muscles. I was competing several times a year, but actually I had dropped on my body fat down so low that my hair was falling out. My cycle was a mess. Like my body was in complete chaos. Because I needed to learn about nutrition and I needed to learn about taking care of my body. So I always kind of try to hit that home that nobody gets the excuse that we just don't do it. And so motivation is not something that is just inherent that everybody has every day to do. It's just a part of your routine that we have to be able to take care of ourselves day to day. So I think it's a little bit of tough love that they need in that moment.
Yeah, I love that. And I definitely, I have heard that toothbrush analogy too. And I think it's really relatable to people. Like, do you always want to brush your teeth? No, but you know what's good for you, so just do it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, and then this next question is the exact wording that was sent to me was asking about soreness. She asked specifically if you have an assistant to like do your hair and to put deodorant on you because like it hurts so bad from upper body that like what do you do for soreness in your upper body?
So when I was filming, I was taking ice baths. I don't know if you guys have me on Instagram, but like, there was a day that, and everything, I mean, COVID was going, so like my other place was open. So they were like, well, we could make you an ice bath, and like literally found like some dusty old bin in the back of the studio and filled it with water and ice. Everybody was so excited for me to sit in the ice bath, but I did it because I was so sore during filming. And so I think it's just really about what you're doing, outside of your workout that is going to be really important. That you are getting that good nutrition in, that you are getting a great amount of sleep, that you are a lot of people like, well, on the rest day when we do dynamic recovery, I'm not really like sweating and working hard. And I'm like, yeah, because you're not supposed to be sweating and working hard. It's a recovery day. Like we're supposed to be resting and just moving a little bit and prepping our body for the following week. So that rest day is so important. When we are working out, we're breaking muscle tissue down. It's when we're resting and recovering that we're building it back up. So all of that time that is not your workout time is going to be incredibly important for that. And then just some of it is just continue to move, even though it's hard to be able to do your hair and things, like continue to move and it's going to feel a little bit better as the days go on.
Yes, that's great. Um, okay, the next one is okay, so from the original MBF preview, the very, very first one that a lot of us saw, it seemed like the original intent of MBF was to have this like just big group like fitness class. And we're curious, like clearly with COVID that all kind of had to change. But we're curious, like, did you have to change some of the workout moves? Like, did you have to change a lot of the program in order to make it like Zoom workout? Um, or not?
Um, yeah, I don't think we had to change anything because of the way things had to change for the Zoom pass. As far as the workout is concerned, I think it was more like I had to change as a trainer in my behavior.
Y'all ran through screaming.
Right? I think it just really came down to me as a coach had to change how I communicated because I no longer, first of all, my fitness level had to come up because I had to be able to do the workout the entire time and talk. So I had to be kicking my own butt since, pretty much January. I was doing that. So my fitness level had to come up and I didn't have the opportunity to walk over to a cast member and say, oh, look what they're doing over here. And this is how we're going to fix it and point out things. So
Oh, you got muted.
There we go. I think my communication had, I think my communication really had to change, just in being able to say exactly what I wanted in the moment that I wanted it. And then sometimes you'll see that I can't always hear the Zoomcast that well because there's so many things going on. So I'm talking, I have like an earpiece in my ear that somebody's talking to me in, just being like, hey, this move is coming up. And then I have the Zoomcast, I have the music playing. So sometimes I ask the Zoomcast a question and they start answering me and I'm just, and it's like at an inappropriate time. And that's just because I couldn't hear them in the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, because there is some moves where there would be like a cameraman like going behind you, like showing your view of all the screens, and then you're working out. I'm like, I don't know how she's doing that. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. All right. And then the next question is, what is the best part of being a Beachbody super trainer? Because you do have that history of like owning a gym, and you still do that too. And then you won being a trainer. So like, what is your favorite part, your highlight, or maybe something that surprised you about being a Beachbody super trainer?
I think just like the bigger community that I now get to kind of reach out to. Like I kind of had my gym and thought like, okay, like this is it. Like this is as big as it's gonna get and this is awesome. And I didn't really picture anything bigger than that. And I kind of fell into the opportunity for going to the reality show. And so I really didn't picture this for myself. And if there's, oh, I know another thing that I can tell you that most people don't know, is that I'm a very big introvert. And so if you would have told me a few years ago that I would be doing calls like this or I'd be on stage at something like Summit, I would have been like, no, I have zero interest in that. Like, that sounds like my nightmare. Being a trainer has really pulled me out of my shell. And yeah, I think that that's kind of been the biggest change for me is realizing that being an introvert is not a bad thing. Like I can be an introvert and still come out and do some things like this that, I always thought that when people would tell me, well, it just takes practice to do these kinds of things. I was like, that's just something that extroverted people say. Like that doesn't actually happen because whenever I would do speeches or something like that, my heart would be pounding. I'd be like sweating, but at the same time also freezing. And like I just couldn't even like hear, my heart would be pounding so hard. I couldn't think. So I really just didn't think that that would get any better. And it does get better with practice, in case any other introverts are on here. And so I think that's been the biggest change for me, is just coming out of my shell a little bit and being able to connect with this community.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, it kind of seems then that this, like COVID and how this program rolled out, might, I'm moving slightly. It worked. Oh, I was just gonna say that I was thinking that as you were talking that this is kind of like the introvert, like perfect way to roll out a program, because like usually you would have had to like do all these like circuits of Summit and all the trainings and stuff, and like it would have been even more, and having the cast and people around you all the time during filming, like you could kind of be like, okay, this is my Zoom cast, right? So it's like warming you up for whatever comes next. Right?
Absolutely, I think so. And we would have already been done filming, I think, by the time Summit came up. But it was going to be like just months of go, 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 go by the time Summit came up. And I was a little like mentally preparing myself because, you know, as an introvert, now I know I can come out and I can do things like that. But it is just draining for me. Like I need that recovery time afterwards, just to like mentally kind of shut down. And so, yeah, things like that are just like a lot for me. And I had to kind of mentally prepare for that. So it was kind of bittersweet when everything kind of got like canceled and everything. I was like, okay, but I was all prepped for that. I was ready. I was mentally prepared for that.
Right, yeah. So next time, right?
Yep.
Let me get everyone muted quick. I had a whole bunch of people. Okay. So, and on that note, one of our questions is, and maybe there isn't an answer for this, but of course we're curious as to if there's plans for a next workout or maybe like a refilming of MBF, that it's more like, you know, the group fitness style, like what is next for you?
There's no plans to refilm MBF, although I am going to try to pitch once, and hopefully we get past COVID, and I just don't know how long that's going to be, but I would almost like some sort of like, even if it's a week long, like introduction to MBF, like some of the other programs have had, something to get the entire cast together and film it the way it was originally intended. Because we're certainly not going to go back and film everything. It was a full-on production that, you know,
Yeah.
Beachbody spent a lot of time and effort and money on already. So we're not going to go back and film everything, but I would just like something that where we get to get everybody together and film it how it was intended. So that would be really cool. And then as far as like what's next in programs, I would be so excited to, you know, create something new for Beachbody again. And I know it just takes always like a couple of years. It's no like certain order as far as like, you know, trainers, but everybody does kind of have to get cycled through before the next thing comes out for you. So it's usually like about 3 years in between, you know, your program. So I'm just like, I heard the more you bother Carl, the better. So I'm just gonna keep emailing him different ideas until it sticks.
I believe that, because in their eyes, I'm sure they're thinking, "Oh, she's just, you know, really excited," and they just feed off of that. So I can totally believe that. All right, so we're running up on the time limit, and so I would just like to ask for our last question. Actually, a lot of us in my groups are just finishing round 2 of MBF, and we'll be moving on to MBFA. So I'm sure you've been asked a million times, but what kind of like advice or just encouragement can you give us as we make that transition from MBF to MBFA?
I just have been really hitting home that you shouldn't be scared about going into MBFA. These are going to be different movements, and really the thing that levels it up is the amount of work that you're going to be doing, because we add something called Megan minutes. So a lot of the moves are going to just change, but it's still a lot of traditional weight training movements, and you're still going to have the option of the modifier, going lighter, or resting if you need to rest. Like, you still have all these options. So I don't want anybody to think like it's going to be some sort of crazy thing. It's going to be like a step up. Okay. And the first week that you guys probably did MBF, you were probably really sore and thinking Megan's a crazy person. And then you started getting used to that. And now you're going to go into the first week of MBFA and you're going to go, okay, Megan's really a crazy person. I get used to that. But I don't want anybody to be fearful about taking that next step. We really designed it so it was just the next step up. We've been preparing you for it through MBF. Sounds like you guys did 2 rounds of it. So you've been preparing for 6 weeks for MBFA. And so just no fear going into MBFA. And I want to also kind of share with you guys that I really originally designed this program to be done as a 6-week program. So even when you get done with MBFA, I don't want you to then just live in MBFA world. Sometimes then we get to the point where mentally we're like, well, I already did the advanced version. I don't want to go back to the regular version because it's less than. It's not going to be less than if you're still lifting as heavy as possible, if you're still moving as fast as possible, you're still going to be getting plenty out of that. And there's something to be said from cycling your training, from having something a little bit less intense, going up a notch and bringing it back down at times. And so MBF to MBFA creates that nice cycle of training kind of built in for you. And when you do come back to MBF after MBFA, we also in MBFA have some 10-minute bonus content videos that are kind of finishers. And what I actually want those bonus content videos to be used for is when you come back to MBF, if you did want to take MBF up a notch, you can add those finishers to the end of MBF to kind of level MBF up a notch, and have that 6-week program a little bit something different. So that's your option. Don't feel like you have to add those finishers just because it's an option. Like I said, if you're still lifting heavy, if you're still moving fast, you're still going to get your butt kicked by MBF. I've been doing MBF since January and still getting my butt kicked. So that's not going to change if you are still challenging your body. But I just don't want you guys
No, it all froze. I'm like, is that me? Is that her? Thank you for sharing that though, because I'm definitely like the girl who likes to work hard and do advanced all the time. So it's helpful for me to know to go back to the beginning again. So thank you. And
Yeah.
I know we're up on our time and I want to respect that. And so just thank you so much for hopping on with us and for sharing it. I obviously love your program, and I'm excited to do more of it. So thank you.
I appreciate you guys right back. It's your excitement and encouraging your groups that have made this program so big. So I just appreciate you guys right back for taking the time tonight and all of your hard work going into these workouts every single day. Like, because of you guys sharing, like somebody else sees you and says, well, because of them, I'm going to start. I think that's kind of the coolest part for all of us, hopefully, is that ripple effect as we kind of go through this journey. So I just appreciate you guys right back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good night,
Thanks
guys.
for calling in, guys.